Phil Heath and Kai Greene had one of the biggest rivalries in bodybuilding history. Today we're going to take a look at the two from the 2012 Sheru Classic. Now, of course, Phil Heath won this event. Kai Greene, I think the last time he beat Phil was at the 2010 Arnold Classic, if I'm not mistaken. Beat him at the '09 Olympia too. But after that, it seemed like Kai just could not get any traction against Phil Heath. But a lot of people protest and say that Kai Greene was better than Phil Heath. Here at the 2012 Sheru Classic, we will be going through the poses. I'll give you my honest opinion, and I understand. There is a huge faction of people that believe Kai Greene was always beating Phil. I remember watching these events, maybe not this one in particular, but the Olympias, and I wanted Kai to beat Phil so bad that sometimes I was blinded. Now that I look back, I don't think Kai was ever beating Phil at those Olympias. Well, maybe 2014. But I do not see it in the front double. The midsection of Phil, the proportions, everything is just flowing perfect. Kai Greene, one of his arms is very impressive. But the more you look at the physique of the big Kai, the more you notice that, yeah, he is holding his arm up, but why is he doing that? Is it to hide the non-symmetrical arms? Could be, could be. His midsection sure is full, which leads me to believe that he is large here. This is a big Kai Greene. You remember the 2012 Olympia, Kai went the other way. But maybe unpopular of a decision, but I would give the front double to Phil Heath. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's the midsection. It's the proportions. The symmetry, rather. Now, here's the front lat spread. And proportions, they will come up. You can see both of these guys. They are somewhat long-legged with a short torso, but Kai's is shorter. The torso, not the legs. The legs, obviously, a little bit longer for Kai. But the wide clavicle, that accentuates this pose, the front lat spread. Kind of a, you can get away with having a narrow clavicle in the front double, as long as you get some good arms, good flow. But here in the front lat spread, it is a Kai Greene shot. So I guess you could say, for those of you who do it that way, it's 1-to-1. It's tied 1-to-1. Of course, you got to look at the conditioning. Stuff of that such really makes a big difference. Turn to the side. Another one that may be unpopular here. Unpopular. But I prefer Phil Heath's physique over Kai Greene's. And I'll tell you why. It's that torso. It is even shorter from the side. It's really noticeable. And you look over at Phil, and his upper body and lower body seem to match pretty good. In fact, Phil Heath, he's pretty jacked here. This is a pretty ginormous looking Phil Heath. Wow. Kai Greene, what can you say? He's big all over, if you know what I'm poking around at, what I'm getting at, without trying to be rude. But he's big, he's a whopper. Now, the side tricep, yes, I understand, they're switched sides here, but this is a picture taken from the lineup. There was no close-up shot of the side tricep from Kai. Now, I will say that in the lineup, I would have used more of the pictures, but the sizing was off. They had Phil in the center, and I think they had Rolly Winkler on the other side, and Rolly and Kai, they were being, out-angled by the camera, and they looked shorter. And you can tell Kai's bigger than this, but it doesn't matter, does it? No, absolutely not. Phil Heath is winning the side tricep. It is a better pose for the man. So realistically, pretty difficult for Kai Greene to, or for me to say that Kai Greene is beating Phil Heath. We just went through the front. We went through the side, but, there is the back shots. Now, I will say, when it comes to sports, in particular bodybuilding, people will just say stuff, and they won't even look at it. They will just say, well, Kai Greene had the thickest lat insertions, one of the best backs of all time, and condition was second to none. Well, that could be true certain times of the year. But the thick lat insertions don't translate into the best back of all time. Phil Heath, with the very thick lat insertions, nice lats, maybe not as wide as Kai's, but the proportions, looks very good. And those traps, it really, it makes for a better pose. And then when you talk about conditioning, I don't want to ruffle any feathers the wrong way. But to me, Kai Greene is not as conditioned as Phil Heath here. Just does not appear so. I'm not a judge. I wasn't there. These are pictures. You can only tell so much from pictures. But I mean, I think you can tell quite a bit. These nice clear pictures. I think Phil is more peeled, more shredded. Let me know. Let me know in the comments section below. Do you guys feel the same way? I'm sure maybe you were clouded like I was when we were watching these events back in the day. Here's the rear double. We just wanted Kai to win so much. I think that we put Kai's condition the same as Phil, and I really don't think it is. Kai's condition is good, mind you. Very good. Very good. And the back double, I mean, this is an outstanding pose. Look at the lats. Now he can utilize these lat insertions. In the rear lat spread, it was a little unsymmetrical. It just didn't, the traps were a little washed out and weak. But the rear double, this is a thing of beauty. As is the gift, Phil Heath. Otherwise known, I guess I call him the Doctor, Dr. Phil. But kind of just a joking around, calling him Dr. Phil. But I do believe that he is the more conditioned athlete. And here is the abs and thigh. I always liked the way Kai was hitting this, or Kai hit this pose. Bends at the knees, you see, his far leg, and he kind of lurches forward with the closer leg. And what that does, it makes his proportions better. His wheels and his upper body appear to be about the same, proportions. Things like that. Now, Phil, I mean, what can you say? He doesn't suck. It's not, his condition's great. Reminds me of a Ronnie Coleman. Maybe not the most aesthetic, but really, Ronnie Coleman's abs and thigh in, say, like 2003, it was pretty good. Not bad at all. Actually, better than his more leaner versions. And Phil, he was still pretty good here in the midsection. But I prefer Kai. Kai has a wide waist, but his clavicle width is also twice as wide as Phil Heath. And I love the feathering in the quad. I mean, that is the perfect look for an abs and thigh. So not a destruction here, but I always prefer Kai against Phil in this pose. And here is the final shot, the final say, the most muscular. Never really the best pose for Kai, was it? He was a monster. He was a beast. He just did not seem to be able to throw it all together in the most muscular. Now his front double, his arms were great. They looked bigger than Phil's, but certain angles, like from the side, well, maybe not so much from the side, but here in the front, Phil absolutely has an advantage. Even though his clavicle is very narrow, I think those large delts, they make up from that. So having said that, I think Phil Heath, this was a very justified win against Kai Greene. There was other events that I remember watching, maybe the Arnold Classic, like 2011 or 13 maybe, something of that nature. And it was maybe even closer than this, but I don't think this was as close as Kai's been. 2012 might even have been closer to Phil for Kai. But there was just things about Phil's physique, maybe a little bit more complete. Of course, there was aspects of Kai's physique that made him a little bit more complete as well. Let me know in the comments section below. Am I totally wrong on this one? At least in your opinion, it's bodybuilding. If you want to have your own opinion on things, you want to still enjoy watching it, you go right to it. Don't let Bob Ciccarello and Sean Ray tell you you're wrong. Just because they're big studs. Hit thumbs up on the video. Love and appreciate all you folks. Not individually, but as a whole, of course. Have a great one.